Yes. All right.
But we gotta keep it quiet because we're right by the camera, so we have to get these copy recorded for
Right.
creating purposes.
Exactly. So what's new?
Nothing new. Working a whole lot more lately. Yes, still. How about you?
Just working. I'm here every day between 11 and 3, and I have meetings and stuff.
It's Anna Eastman, she's on the school board, I just need to help her, it's just purely because I know someone in the city that she calls me. But I'm asking for that. It's just one of those things you have to do, right? A tree issue. Urban forest.
Hi. Trying to get out of the camera. I looked up and saw my face.
Yeah.
So I backed up.
There we go. Yeah.
I did not. I kind of got in, a little late at the game.
Oh, that's right.
Rhonda, can you just sign up for the each town thing?
No. Registration was due Friday, so deferred.
Anybody sign up?
Star, Cynthia, Rose, me, Aaron,
Brandy.
Brandy. 8 times. It's this Thursday. Did you sign up?
Did we get a list of who signed up or?
You had to register by Friday. The first. We sent that thing
I
out.
didn't have it on my calendar, but I remember registering. I see.
That's right. Maybe signed up too.
Oh, yeah?
We don't know where we're actually making it for.
Just like twice under stars.
Well, yeah, using one of the Star's email and one of Amanda's email.
And we're not really supposed to be looking to be on TV, at you or just in general? I'm just curious. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure some more people might be joining. I'm hoping a lot of people are watching live.
They're not. We have 0 people watching live stream.
You guys are
Terrible. I've been very nice for about 8 years. Now when people ask me a question and I've already gone over it, I'm gonna say, refer to the March 22nd meetings, or I'm just not gonna be able to repeat myself 65 times anymore. It's insane. The rest of the world, a college professor doesn't do it, nobody does it but me. So I'm gonna get more firm about referencing when I've gone over this stuff. It is April. It is a very busy time in real estate. And so what I'm hoping is that you took a little time off in January and February, that you spent March studying the market, and that you're ready to work for 2 good months. Okay, I look at it, it's 7 more good weekends. It's 7 more good weekends before we get to Memorial Day weekend. For our firm, for the months, now often we get under contract in April and they close in May, you get under contract in May and you close in June. But those 2 months equal more than about 6 other months. They equal more than January and February, July and August, and September, generally. I mean, those 2 months. So I mean, and I think there's such pent-up demand in our marketplace because when oil started to slide last June and July, those people were still in the marketplace and they didn't make a move, but I see signs of movement. We were going to have movement anyway in March versus January and February. You're going to see ample opportunities. I think you guys need to have been doing something, and you need to do something also in the month of April and May. So I kept thinking about this. If I were Star, I would send a mail out to every client that I ever had about the state of the market, and I would host an event It wouldn't even matter what it was, but it would probably be an art and architecture event with a little talk of an artist and an architect and you on the state of the market. And I would do that, and I would plan it in May and publicize it in April, and I would do it. If I were Cynthia, I would do the same thing. I would mail an update to every one of the clients I've ever sold a house to, and I would host an event. It could be a pre-party before the Woodland Heights home tour. It can be a talk for one of the homeowners that are on the AIA home tour. It would just be anything that would be going on. It could be going to one of the new restaurants and just hosting a little happy hour for my existing client base. You have the ability to talk to them about the state of the market. If I were Robert Zahn, I would host some of I would do a mail out to people in Galveston about the state of the market to my people. I would put it on Facebook, I would put it on my blog, and I would invite them to an event, whether that's the art walk on April 16th at our office or another event before the Galveston home tour. And I would buy 100 tickets to the Galveston home tour, and I would offer those to all of my clients in the city of Houston, because they might have a friend who wants to have a house in Galveston or know more about the Galveston market, or someone in Galveston who wants to sell. So you have to do something, mail something so it gets in their hand, and host some event is what I think I would do on top of the other events that you're doing. This might be posting something or blogging something or emailing something or Facebook. Would do something in these months so that you have the ability to talk to people about the state of the market. Okay? And then piggyback on our other activities that we are doing as a firm, talking about the state of the market. I'm doing a podcast later today. I'm sure we can share that link or something with everyone at the firm. I'm hosting Quality of Life for H-Town on Thursday, and I'm putting myself out there where I'm able to talk about the state of the market with regards to the city of Houston. I want you to be able to do the same thing. So I would plan on open houses. This is the time you do not have to do any open house in June, July, or August, or September 1st, or September 7th. You can just take a break again until September 15th. But I would do them the next 7 weeks if you wanted to be serious about selling a lot of houses in 2016. So I just encourage you to do so if you could. There are all these home tours. You know, we had our Heights home tour. Kenny and Marianne did a fine job, and the people that were donating, thank you all for that. There's plenty of other home things related to the Woodland Heights, the AI home tour, the Good Brick Awards tour, the Galveston tour. All of our kind of market is hosting something you could tie in real estate to some sort of acknowledgement for your client base there. So I encourage you to do so. Yes, sir.
I hate to be so naive, but when talking about the state of the market, where is the best place to receive all of my information on that?
I would just get it directly from Erin. I would just ask Erin. We will update the spring 2016 state of the market information that we're going to give to you here in the next day or two. That'll be the summary of what's happened in January, February, and March, and what the trend is looking like for April and May. So we'll give you that. HAR has some resources. Texas A&M has some resources. You can just kind of Google, but it's kind of all over the board. So we're just going to kind of make it more local for you.
Right.
We're doing this little podcast, which will be out in a day or two, which will be another thing to both listen to. It's about a 30-minute podcast on the state of the market that you can share with your clients. Those are going to be two good resources right there.
Are we gonna have any tickets available for the home tour to give your clients?
Which one? I had 10 for the one last weekend, and not one person used them. So, I paid $2,500 for that one.
For 10 of them?
For 10 of them, not one person used the tickets. Aaron, did you go on Friday?
No.
So I'm happy to buy them. I'm happy to buy them. I'm happy to buy them for every one of those things, because I'm making a $1,000 donation to Woodland Heights, and so they'll give us some tickets for that if someone wants to use it. But honestly, I spend a lot of money on these home tours, and we get zero bang for the buck.
So the tickets are not, the tour itself, the tickets are not.
Or $7 to $10. But I'm happy to buy some if people will use them. Happy to buy some for your clients if that's what we need to do. Yes. When I bought them in the past, when I buy the home tour, they sit on the island, and no one uses it. Now, I understand, you're probably gonna be busy on Saturday and Sunday selling houses, and so it's okay with me that you don't get to go or whatever, but I don't mind relying on you to give to your clients, but I mean, I don't know that we utilize them very well.
I didn't know that there were any tickets to give away on Friday.
Well, they were tied to your deal that you went to, I mean, those were tickets.
Those-
But yeah, I didn't make it clear because I'm kind of
I
frustrated in buying the home ticket thing, so I mean, I bought them so many years. it doesn't
would
seem
have been
that-
happy to give some away. I didn't.
I'm happy, you know, my friends, the Isles, at corner of 8th and Arlington are on the AIA home tour. I mean, we just paid some money for Preservation Houston, we can get plenty of tickets for the Good Brick Award winners, happy to buy some Galveston ones, happy to buy, I mean, the Woodland Heights one will have plenty of them too, so if there's some that you want, please just let one of us know, Rhonda or Aaron or somebody will get you some. How about that? Okay, moving topics. Want to talk about builder warranties, because it's come up a few times or whatever, so I want to make sure that we're clear on how this works. There used to be a Texas Residential Construction Commission, it was formed by the legislature, and it created a warranty for new construction, okay? And it was a fairly standard practice before the TRCC that we had this kind of 1 year kind of all-encompassing warranty for builders. You couldn't call them 32 times to paint or whatever, but when there was separation of crown molding, they generally would come twice a year or whatever, do it once maybe at the 6th month and once maybe in the 11th month. Then there was this 2-year mechanical warranty, which was basically the water heaters and the air conditioners and the furnaces and those sort of things. And then there was this 10-year structural warranty. Very well defined. It was a warranty that was about 150 pages. You can still find it. You can Google TRCC warranty. It's still fairly common out there in the internet. And that was the standard warranty for new construction. What happened was, through the court system, and even the legislature got so many complaints that the warranty favored the builder versus the homeowner, that the general homeowner was doing better in the marketplace by suing the builder and getting more than the warranty would have allowed. So the warranty was limiting could happen with regards to the homeowner when they went after the builder. So the legislature, in their great wisdom, did away with the TRCC. So there's no more Texas Residential Construction Commission, and it did away with all warranties. So there's no standard warranty in the state of Texas for new construction, and there hasn't been for a number of years. If the house was built from 2005 to about 2013, it's probably covered under that TRCC, but only thing that's left is the 10-year structural warranty. Okay, so no standard warranty, no required warranty in the state of Texas. So Terry's been showing houses, and the builders continue writing that there's no warranty, and he's just amazed that there's no warranty. There is no warranty. Okay. There is kind of the standard warranty that we talked about, the 1 to 10, which is kind of a common thing. So any builder that you go and write a contract in, you need to ask them what is their warranty, and you need to include that warranty in the paperwork, because they're not bound by it if there's no paperwork that says they're going to do that, right? They can say they're going to do anything, and then when you didn't pay full price, you can say, oh no, the warranty was only if you paid full price. It needs to be noted into some sort of paperwork, special provisions or an addendum, that the seller will provide a standard 1 to 10 warranty. That's almost common enough that we would know what that is.
Is that the one that they're using now?
Well, there's no standard one. That's the one that they used to use that you could reference.
Right.
You could reference the old TRCC. Now, most big companies, David Weekley probably has a warranty.
Melissa
Melissa and them at Modern Bungalow, they have a warranty. They'll provide you their warranty. Jared Wheat, my guy, he'll provide you the warranty kind of in writing of what it says. So you need to ask them, but I would get it clarified of what's going on. Now, you can understand that Brandon can give a warranty to Star. It says he's going to do these sort of things. And a couple of things could happen. Brandon could have a midlife crisis and go to Cancun and just take up fishing on the beach, and you're not going to be able to get to Brandon. Wouldn't matter what he said. Okay. Or Brandon could go bankrupt. So the warranty was with Brandon Kruger Homes LLC, and Brandon Kruger Homes LLC went bankrupt in 2016 because he's overextended. So Brandon Kruger doesn't no longer have a warranty because that company is bankrupt or whatever. So most of the time, people would feel safer with a third-party warranty. So in addition to the builder's warranty, the buyer would like a second warranty from a reputable company. But I want us to be clear from our perspective. When the builders want to warranty the stuff and they're honest and they have integrity and they're a good businessman, they're going to go do the right thing and they're going to perform. That's why a builder with a track record is probably the best thing that you can find. And given the large number of transactions, you could take Tricon. I'm sure they sell 100 homes a year. I'm sure there's 4 people who are disgruntled because they're never going to be satisfied or whatever. So you could Google Tricon homeowner satisfaction and see how many people were dissatisfied, but make sure that that's all kind of relative out there. But in general, these warranties do not cover buyers very much, okay? They just really don't. Unless the builder does something defective, okay, that's going to cause black mold and respiratory illness and large deals, I mean, they generally are excluded from the standard sort of warranty. So in all the warranties, okay, it more protects the builder than the buyer. I don't want the buyer to have some great sense of satisfaction. So in the standard warranties that are out there, it excludes so many things that it's almost everything that could ever possibly happen or whatever. So in some of the standard warranty go down just a little bit more, you know, it's telling you what's excluded, okay? So deficiency or defects on the property that were not shown at the time of closing. Well, hell, if you didn't know about it at the time of closing, you probably wouldn't have closed or whatever. But I mean, what you want is the warranty for 6 months later or 18 months later or whatever. So that's a little funny. Drainage deficiencies, you know, aren't covered. So when the water stays on the foundation or underneath the house and creates a problem, that's a drainage deficiency, which is not covered or whatever. This exterior stuff is not covered. The outbuildings are generally not covered, so you might rather keep going down. Patio decks, sidewalks, walkways, swimming pools, hot tub spas, all those things. So we've excluded most things here already. They basically are trying to talk about plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and maybe some structural. Any damage caused by soil movement, which is generally the foundation. It's generally the structural problems that we're having over here. Any damage resulting of a change in load-bearing walls. Remember, people, this was designed to be open and closed, and it was open. Upstairs were gym offices. That whole wall I moved around. But every time you change something in construction, you're voiding whatever that warranty was. Watering or not, the lack of watering. All the time, you get these foundation claims, and they come 2 or 3 years later. And so what the company says is, prove to me you watered the foundation every other day for the last 2 years during the drought, because your problem is caused by the drought. And where's your documentation that you watered the foundation as required by the warranty? Who has documentation that they watered? I mean, you might get a water bill, right? I mean, you're in a big lawsuit over those foundations for those sort of things. If the builder screwed up, the secondary home warranty company doesn't want them to take responsibility. They want you to go up to the builder who's bankrupt or fishing in Cancun. But this is just kind of, you know, failure of the builder's subcontractors. That would be the electrician, plumber, HVAC, painter, drywall, framer. That's who the subcontractor is, right? So when the builder says, I admire the house, I hired a licensed electrician that was inspected by the city of Houston, who's the regulatory body, then he didn't have to warranty that fire that's smoking over there that caused you to leave in the middle of the night. Any deficiencies in workmanship, materials, or structural covered by another warranty company or insurance policy. I mean, you have to read the exclusions, I think, is my main point to you. I don't want people to get a warm, fuzzy feel about these third-party structural warranties. All right, let's move on to just.
How can you diplomatically tell a buyer?
I just need you to be on. Even with, we're talking about builder's warranties today. So I want to, you know, these little home warranty companies where they charge $300 and $400.
$4 and $5.
Maybe more so. They have a big office building, okay? The little chick drives around in a BMW convertible. They bring us lunch every week or whatever, okay? So if they bring in $500 and they pay her $30,000 a year and they buy some lunches, you understand they're not paying out $500. It probably cost them $400 to stay in business before there was ever a claim. So they also are the same, but look for ways not to pay things, okay? So I mean, they're no more different. I don't think this warranty is any different from the other warranty. They may or may not work, and there are instances where you can find that they work, but most of the time I tell my client, I think we'd be better off with the $500 than we would the warranty, and assume our own risk that now you can pay your own plumber as opposed to paying $75, waiting 4 days for his plumber for them to tell you it was normal wear and tear when you have a drip in the faucet.
So could you just define it as this is a peace of mind warranty?
It's an additional amount of coverage that's available that many people take advantage of, but I think you have to be aware of the exclusions and the difficulty it would be in claiming from the third-party warranty company in the event that the builder was not able to perform. I think you got a better chance of suing somebody in reality than you do of claiming the warranty if there's a major deficiency. If there's a small deficiency, it may work, but I mean, it's relatively frustrating. I know of very few instances in my career where people have been able to go back and use the third-party warranty and get any significant amount of money or corrective action. Okay? They can sit there and say, we had a house, Allegro had a house on 7th Street or whatever. They said there was a drainage issue. You had to be there when it rained. You had to videotape how fast the water dissipated. It had the ability to be an hour and a half, so you must record for 36 hours. How is that going to really even be possible to prove that the water wouldn't recede within a reasonable time frame, which is 36 hours? You know, from a driveway, it generally will. So when they see it and there's still water 4 hours or 8 hours or 12 hours later, that's excluded from the warranty. Didn't cover that. They need to go to address their own warranty issue. And if the driveway was inadvertently built such a way, it's still excluded because it was built that. I mean, there's so many instances where it seems like you find a problem, you go to the builder, he dilly-dallies around for 3 months, you dilly-dally around with the third-party guy, they see you in a month, you can't identify the problem because it didn't rain that day, you have to wait till it rains. We're 6 months into it, we haven't solved the problem yet at all, and it continued to exacerbate. I mean, I think it's frustrating. Here's another example, 210. I mean, this is a warranty. It's very common in my industry. They've been in business a long time. But when you go to the websites and they're telling you, builders, protect your business. This is the main website. Who do y'all think that they're really protecting over here? He didn't say anything about consumer, protect yourself. What did he talk about? Builders, protect your business. So you understand what I'm saying? What's the message that they're sending here? They're protecting the builders just like the TRCC protected the builders. Okay? So we won't even here. We'll just go on to the next one. What's the next one I have? This company is okay. But here's structure. What I like about structure is for the property to be, so if there's a builder that's using structure, the builder itself had to be really qualified, and they've come out and done a site evaluation of the site, of the construction site during construction. So they looked at it during framing or during the foundation or something. So I think you're better off with one of these deals. So it costs this builder, probably $1,000, and it probably costs the property about $2,500 when you go and have a warranty. I like this guy fairly well. So if there's a company, if there's a builder that uses a third-party warranty company in addition to their own, and it's something like structure, I think that's about as good as it gets. You want the warranty company to have given some evaluation of the property in addition to the builder. ACES is the most common out there, but literally, Star can be an ACES builder. She can pay $100 and she can register a house for $180. That's what it costs for the ACES third-party warranty. It never went to the house. They don't know anything about Star. They don't know if she's bankrupt or not. They don't know anything about Star. You just pay them some money, and you all of a sudden, now you have an ACES warranty, which predominantly protects the builder, again, not the consumer. Okay? So it's not like it is an additional coverage, but I just want us to be clear. The best thing you can do is very well inspect that property before you close on it. I mean, that's really your due diligence, to check the framing, to check the moisture, to check. Doesn't mean that things don't happen afterwards, but you have a higher chance of going after the builder at a later point and getting something than you do of really getting this third-party warranty to do something. And the builder is going to deflect you to the warranty company in the event that you have the warranty, okay? So I just want you to be aware. I'm not gonna really make a judgment one way or the other, but I need you to be aware there is no warranty standard in the state of Texas. Their warranty, if you can get a warranty from them, number one thing you can get, read it and read the exclusions of how it's gonna work and pray they stay in business. If they're not in business, it's not gonna matter anyway. And then if they offer some third-party warranty, are you gonna start with ACES? You'd say you'd rather have, a higher reputable warranty company that's evaluated the home and the builder's ability to stay in business. Okay? Questions about builder warranties? All righty. That was just a snippet commercial today.
Well, that sounds like a big negative.
It is pretty negative. I think it's fairly negative. I mean, I don't know how else to tell you. I just don't want you to falsely imply to your homeowner who's buying $1 million house and is given some $180 ACES home warranty that there's going to be a great protection for that homeowner, because there's really not. I think it is a false sense of security. I think structure's better. I think there are better ones than ACES. And I'm going to close on 24th Street on Friday. We're going to do an ACES home warranty. Now, it's a builder that I think's been in business for quite a while and has a reputation, never had any major issues. We gave them the address of 15 other houses that he'd done over the decade, and we gave him the homeowner's name. We gave him the resale houses, where the same houses 7 years ago resold again for $200,000 and $300,000 more. So that's what we use in order to sell my 24th Street house, not the reliance of some third-party warranty. Not that we're not going to give them ACES, but I mean, I think you got a better chance of checking the reputation of the builder.
All about the reputation.
Yeah.
Is Smith Family Homes using?
We give them an ACES, or what do we give them? Give them an ACES.
Almost everybody's really good.
Yeah.
They give the ACES because it is the forced mediation again that forces them to go over there and say, here's the problem. The problem is not the foundation, it's that you didn't water the house.
Right.
So now the builder's not liable.
They haven't said that the builder absolutely won't do anything.
Right.
And all the other realtors have heard of ACES, we've all heard of ACES, so ACES just looks normal.
It just looks normal,
like
looks
the rest
normal.
of
There's just not that many claims against ACES that have been effective.
There's no need to it.
Right. Okay, we're done with builder's warranty. Just want you to be aware, 'cause people keep asking about where the standard warranty is for no standard warranty. Okay, we're gonna go over the planning department. I want you to leave today understanding what the City of Houston Planning Department does. This is permitting. So the planning department for the City of Houston does a lot of things that impact your life. I'm learning more about it all the time as we go there. So I want you attempt to go and lay a blueprint for the city. I'm not going to dwell upon Plan Houston for what it does, because it's yet to be determined how effectively this administration is going to use it. Remember, it was passed at the end of 2015. While it is the plan of the City of Houston, now Plan Houston, it's a guide point that says we want to be healthy. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to be healthy. You can run, you can get a trainer, You can eat less than 1,200 calories, or you can become a vegetarian. Those things are all healthy, maybe, but it doesn't tell you exactly how we're going to get there. But we have a plan. Let's don't dwell on the plan in Houston. That's the least of what they do. So we have a plan. Now go back up. But the planning department is constantly monitoring the city of Houston. Okay, it's telling us how are we setting with regards to the rest of the world. Okay, keep on going way on up here. All right, stop here. So click on this one. So there are 90 people working in the planning department that are checking on certain things. So it is the planning department's responsibility to let us know what our city looks like and what's going on. So it's the one that's going to monitor even the demographics of our city compared to other major metropolitan areas is what we really want to look at here. So keep going down a little bit more. So this is telling us kind of how our population is doing. Here's the city. We're going to surpass Chicago sometime in the next few years or whatever over here. We've constantly kind of been gaining, but you can see the next city is Philadelphia. This is where the Democratic National Convention is this summer. And compared to Dallas, we're over here. So I mean, remember, we're almost twice as large as Dallas when we talk about the city and its population. Talk about its ethnic diversity. I mean, here's the percentage that's white. It's been declining over the last few decades. Will probably continue to decline. Here's blacks, remain relatively stable. Here's Hispanic at 44%. It's the largest growing population. Here's Asian, 7%. Of major metropolitan areas other than LA and New York, I mean, our Asian population's relatively high compared to Dallas, where it's 4%. We have almost twice as many Asian and multicultural. So they're grouping in a large factor there. It's telling us about the age of the people that are here. Is the age of the school-age children growing or declining? The voting age growing or declining? We're all tracking these millennials because here's the next round of home buyers that are out here. Are we getting older or not? I mean, they're tracking this sort of stuff. How many people are retiring? What's the median age? This one was pretty good because of oil and gas and medical. The median age in Houston, Texas is 32. Compared to Dallas, it's the same. You know, so we're just kind of tracking the average in the United States is 38 years of age. So we're a younger population than many of the other populations that are out there. So it's keeping up with these demographics. Go back to another one, maybe the social one, or even the economic one. So the planning department's tasked with these sort of studies, which I think are very fascinating for you. Let's just click on housing just because it's probably the one we care about. So the planning department is evaluating what's going on in housing compared to other cities. So fairly interesting. We had that other guy talk a few weeks ago, so I'm not going to delve into this either. It's just a statistic if you wanted to write about it on Facebook. So it's showing the occupancy rate versus the vacancy rate compared to other cities. So we're kind of in line. Yeah, I try and track how are we doing compared to Dallas. I'm not comparing how we go to New York City or whatever. 88% occupancy rate is pretty good, I think. We have about 49% of the population, 43% that own, but 57% of the population rent. I realize this. So, I mean, it's relatively high, although Dallas is virtually about the same. Remember, a lot of people come for 1 year, so they choose to rent before they buy. I mean, here's an ample opportunity in our industry to target a group. The renting group is one definitely to target. You see that the more expensive the cities like New York, well, the higher the rent is sometimes. So 68% of people in New York actually rent versus 32%. Our median house price, and remember this is 1 year behind, is significantly lower than other major metropolitan areas. You know, the East Coast and the West Coast are always going to be more expensive. And then we're fairly in line with Dallas, but of course a little more expensive than San Antonio. Here's the midpoint of which houses sell below and then above 50%, the median price. Our values or whatever, it's showing you the distribution of the houses. So 58% of all housing in Houston, Texas is less than $150,000. We don't focus on that market at all, but 58%. You can still go to Denver Harbor, Sunnyside, or Acres Home. You can still get some over there. What did you just sell Mansfield for? 120?
What's it?
110. How big a lot?
A little over half.
There you go. 110. There's ample opportunity for younger people or whatever. You know, but Philadelphia or San Diego, I mean, you should look at the number here. Those aren't there. Only 9%, only 4% of our properties are greater than $500,000. It's where we tend to focus.
Oh, yeah.
9% are between $3 and $4.99. Kind of interesting how that works. Rent, our rent, median rent today, if people ask you, is $841, fairly in line with the rest of, you know, what you would expect. Dallas is virtually the same, and a bit cheaper here, you know, compared to the other cities that they're coming from. The percent people focus on this, how much of our money is going for our payment or our rent or whatever. We're certainly have a lower wage base than many people. If you take the greater population, there's a lot of waiters, a lot of people mowing grass, a lot of people janitors, you know, and so these people in general, 41% of their income is going towards their rent. Pretty high, you see, compared to the other cities. What we need to do is boost the income of those people, right? That'd be the most significant thing I could do to help our ability to get those people into a deal. So we talk about affordable housing and about economic opportunity. The housing stock in general, you know, so how are we doing? The majority of our stock, 83%, of course, was built before 2000, but we have a fair amount of new construction since 2000. This is just looking at the last basic 20 years or whatever. We have a greater percentage of that than does Dallas. We've been building at a faster pace than Dallas, but not San Antonio. It's actually building more housing than we are. Probably less expensive housing, but less expensive to begin with. We can just keep going down, but I mean, it's the housing, the planning department's talking to you about the length of time that it's, how do you get to work, as a percentage, what are we doing versus driving versus taking the bus versus walking versus whatever. We'll come back to that little area. So that's housing. Just go back out and let's. So the planning department is tracking these things, and the city of Houston is using this information in all of these other areas. So I mean, there's economic and there's social. We're talking about the diversity and things of that nature. But let's keep going down our little plan here. Okay, so, no, I'm sorry, we gotta get back to the main one. Didn't know we do all this in the main part. Okay, so we're tracking what we're doing as a city. All right, from there, that's the demographic section, comparison section. It's keeping up, of course, with the building code. So this is the building code is determined by chapter 42 or whatever. So that's, you know, of course, that's the main section of what people see that the planning department's doing. We also manage parking ordinance, okay? An example would be we're looking at Montrose, modifying a special Montrose Management District parking ordinance. Right now, you don't have to have, you have to have 0 spots of your business, so long as you can valet and meet the criteria within 1,000 feet, okay? Now, we grant variances all the time. There were 2 last week, and one was the valet was 1,084 feet, another one was 1,075 feet. What does it matter? You just grant those variances in general or whatever. But we're looking at ways where you can create, so there's special management parking districts downtown, there's a special management district in the Rice Village, there's special management parking districts in the Med Center. You can create a special management district for parking anywhere that we want to. You can go to the planning department and you can restrict parking on your street. That's where you would go if you wanted to remove that, and we'll show you how that works in a moment. They're taking a plot of land, plat, and you have subdivisions of those plats. So when a builder wants to come in and they take a lot, they're going to divide it into 3 that goes before the planning commission. And we did 2,558 of those last year. While not as high as 2014, it was the 2nd highest number in the history of the city, okay? And we're still on track probably to do that number in 2016, although we're only 3 months into it. So the number of plats, while down from 2014, is certainly higher than it had been in what, let's say 12, if 12 was a normal year after a recessionary period, it was up. Now, this number used to be significantly up in 2004, 5, and 6, but it's certainly better than it was last year. When you subdivide, you got to go record it. Now, some people subdivide and then they don't go record it because they're not ready to go develop or build yet. So the recorded plats after you subdivide for last year were 1,055, about in line with the year before. So we're getting ready to do something over here, so we haven't really done it yet. Okay? They're probably on pause. If you were a townhouse builder, the majority of them are on pause. So they go and replat. We replat at the planning commission. When I take the lots, there are 1,000 probably every 2 weeks. But they don't necessarily go and record them and get ready to build on them yet. They're just, a lot of people replat into 3, go down a little bit longer, and they decide, oh no, I'm going to do 2 versus 3. And then they just go and do 1 house instead, and so they got to replat one more time back to 1. So just because you divided doesn't mean that you're going to record and go build on it yet. Okay, so that's that. Let's keep going. We reviewed site plans, which is the whole build line of everything. So when you take the tract of land and you, and you divide into the lots, we're talking, here's the number of lots that you're dividing into, which is basically a high over here, right? When economy gets tougher, you're going to build cheaper things. You're going to subdivide into smaller tracts, right? So the sites that we're reviewing, you're reviewing when they subdivide, the build line to the left and the right and front, off-street parking, the parking, those sort of things, kind of in line with what we're doing. These developments are larger tracts. This is the Med Center doing something. This is a huge tract down here. Those are kind of in line. And probably the high-end business world's a little down a little bit. That's probably to be expected in our climate. Okay. So let's see what else did that go up just a little bit.
Are you in that picture?
No, this is last year because I'm in the new picture. I'm not in this one. Okay. So of course they handle annexation. If the city's annexing anything, it doesn't want to annex a lot of things because if you annex, you need to provide city services. So there's a large section of areas around Intercontinental Airport that are not in the city of Houston. They loop their way around them. So you capture the airport because you want that on the taxing basis, but you don't capture everything around it because so it may not be in the city of Houston, maybe a little bit. Now anything by law, under state law, so if you're close to the city line, then you're in the extraterritorial jurisdiction, which means you're bound by our rules and subject to being annexed at any given moment. It's not because people have much choice. You get into agreements. We don't have a good city, but remember the city of Westview is its own city, and the city of Bunker Hill is its own little city. So we've wrapped around some of those cities just in agreement to just let that go. Politically, if the city wanted to go annex in Bunker Hill, they could go annex in Bunker Hill. It'd create a wave of problems, but I mean, you theoretically could probably go and do that, but they're not going to go down that path. The Woodlands is probably the nicest, the greatest bastion of hope. They could continue to go north. I mean, I see this ability to jump on over to Betwater and jump on over closer to, I mean, you can get over there. You'd be surprised.
That's in Conroe.
I understand. You can zip your way around and get over there
Getting to
pretty
be closer
easily.
and closer.
You'd be surprised how far this, I mean, we are replatting, I mean, all those things in the Woodlands, all in Colton Woods, all in Sterling Ridge. I mean, we do, what is that little place we're saying, Bill? I mean,
East Shore?
East Shore, I mean, every other week there's a replat of more land in Cinco Ranch and in the Woodlands that's being replatted. I mean, thousands of site plans come before us every 2 weeks in the suburbs way out there. I mean, a new 500 unit subdivision in Cinco Ranch number 17 comes up.
I'm just wondering, I'm sure Conroe would just lay down and say, you want to bend water, go ahead.
I don't think the city maybe wants to go too far out. I understand at some point it becomes cost effective to keep zipping your way around the Woodlands and going around the backside and getting to that, further and further up there. Planning department is over major thoroughfares and freeway plan. What this really means is what you want to pay attention to, is a street going to expand in the next 20 years? Because if we're going to expand, then they're not going to grant variances likely. So we've had many lately on San Felipe in River Oaks, where the setback is a certain way, if people want to come off the garage from the San Felipe. But we are going to expand San Felipe. So if the standard variance is 10 feet today, the build line 10 feet, we will not even grant that. We're going to make them go to 20 because we're either going to take that 10 feet when we take the road, or they're going to have to dedicate it to us. If they just want to, they will expand sections of San Felipe. But you could click and see Heights Boulevard or Yale. Click on here, it's harder than you think, but if you just click on this deal, it gives you the whole city.
What about Studio?
It's not going to expand anytime. It is a major thoroughfare already. So that you need to know the build lines were determined by the width of the street, whether we're on Highland or Bayland. What was that corner over there? Highland and Helen. You know, if the street is 40 feet wide, 50 feet wide, 60 feet wide, it determines a lot of things. So just click on the map, and it's harder to read, but what you can see in the left-hand corner is if it's going to expand. And literally, we're talking about 20 years. I mean, you're looking at every year, because they're not going to expand tomorrow. It takes 5 years to think about it, and 5 years to get on the capital improvement plan, and 10 years to go implement. So you're looking way far ahead. But it is the intention to reduce some streets, especially in Midtown, and it's the intention to increase some others. So it didn't let me increase the size of the street. It shows you every street, every major thoroughfare, and whether it's going to be increased or decreased in the next decade or two. And you can go over here and play or whatever. I don't know if so if it's deciding major thoroughfare for the right of way, it either has sufficient, it's going to be widened, it's going to be acquired. And so then there are collector streets, and there's these transit corridors. So if you can get back over to like the Heights area here, Studewood's not going to be expanded. Politically, I do not want that. So we just had to fight them.
Sorry, you worried about your.
So Richmond is definitely a prime example. Of course, yes. So we're going to talk about Richmond, working with Culbertson. You're going to get a light rail plan through here at some point or whatever. So
inside the loop.
Inside the loop. But this is kind of showing you some areas that are on the radar over here. So of course, here's Yale, and here's Heights, and here's Studewood. They're not slated for anything new in the near future or whatever. So these are the major thoroughfares that we're paying attention to at any given moment. It's mostly like say San Felipe or Washington or Studewood. Not that we wouldn't know if a street just on the inside is going to be expanded. There's not a whole lot of that going on. You can see where you're predominantly looking. But planning department determines if a road's going to be widened or not. Okay, because we need the right of way.
What does the green mean?
The green is interstates. They're the interstates.
The light green.
Light green is really just, well, show me an example of what you.
Oh, it's this sufficient width is what it says. Okay.
Yeah, I think most of them are fine. We're gonna pick our battles. Where it's interesting is where we're reducing the size.
Yeah,
We're
what's
being
that
Midtown.
about in Midtown?
Want to create a more pedestrian-friendly environment. So I mean, there's study after study instead of being. So I think it's going to be the
It's
intention of this
sufficient for a
administration
minor
to get off of one-way streets as much as possible. Just get off of them. It's not create a pedestrian-friendly environment. It creates fast speed. Okay. So if you want to slow the traffic down, people will drive slower in two-way traffic than they will in one-way traffic. Well, theoretically, that happens. So you can take Washington. I think you will see a plan to reduce the size of Washington, to extend the right of way where patios, where little bars and cafes and things could be extended out onto the street level now or whatever. And there's study after study that says not only will you have more people, the traffic will go slower, and it will not adversely impact the driver who's driving on the street today, but will add more people into a pedestrian-friendly zone of Washington. Okay, we can get off of this. We do major thoroughfares and we do complete streets, which is an order that the mayor has given that says when building any street, you must address handicap, bicycle, and pedestrians along with drainage all at the same time. You can't do one without the other. I mean, I'm in a lot of meetings these days. So the entire drainage system of the city is totally screwed up. So they design a street and they create the drainage for the 100-year flood to go to the bayou that only has capacity for the 20-year flood. So every time you build that street and you dig this big hole and it goes down somewhere and the water has nowhere to go, then automatically it's going to go back up and flood the cars that are on that street, right? There's nowhere for that water to go until the bayous are addressed. You're artificially, so the advice to the mayor and his butler, design the streets for 20-year floods. Don't design them for 100-year floods. There's no point in creating. You would alter the topography of the street. You wouldn't lower it quite as much. You would change the deflection based on the fact that not the wrong assumption that the water's going to drain into the bayou when there's no way for it to drain into the bayou. And we have created flooding through our street system, and they must address it somehow. We don't control the bayous, the city of Houston. They're saying we're doing our part to get the water, the flood control district has to do their part. They do not have enough money to address that in our lifetime. And so we need to rethink that a little bit. We also handle the bike plans. The bike plan goes to the planning district, planning commission. Here's where we're looking at this mobility. So where we're looking at areas that we could increase mobility for people, their walkability, the bikeability, the transit. These are areas that we have been paying attention to. East End, Buffalo Bayou, Fifth Ward, Museum District, Greenway Plaza, Greater Fifth Ward. These are the areas where there's an emphasis at the moment of making them more, really Midtown is probably the biggest area at the moment, I think, where you're gonna see stuff.
So like Andrews and all those one-way streets over there, is that gonna be changed to?
Yes.
Wow.
I heard something recently on NPR about what is a 100-year floodplain, and they were saying that it just means that there's a 1% chance of it flooding in any 1 year.
That's right. I mean, it's not every 100 years.
Right,
That's
100 years.
Bike plan we've heard a lot about. I'm telling you, you have about 2 more weeks to go over this bike plan and offer comments because it will impact construction over the next 20 years. So if you see you want more bike accessibility, you need to go make a comment. If your Blossom Street in Crestwood, which is a proposed entry into Memorial Park, as Memorial Park slides over, and you don't want all that traffic, then you have to go over there and bitch about it, remember? I have learned the city pays little attention to what people are for and a lot of attention to what people are against, okay? They gauge the level of opposition disproportionate to the amount of support, okay? So it's what you're against that often influences things, not what you're necessarily for. They assume that people are for it, but they want to gauge the level of opposition to something. But if there's something that you're for in particular, have a glance at it if there's some area that you're particularly interested in. Okay, keep on going. Maybe. In the bike plan, it is basically dealing with safety and health and exercise. I mean, that's overwhelming enough for people to care about safety of the streets with regards to the bikes and bicycling. Okay, keep on going. This is all about bicycle safety. Here's community stuff. Keep on going. So we go up this hall. So definitely the city of Houston and the planning department is intricately involved with minimum lot size, the minimum being whatever the standard is for that neighborhood, the build line, how close you can build to the street, and if you want to prohibit yard parking or parking in front of your house or your block or whatever. So these are 3 very important things that the planning commission does. So 10% of a group can basically get the ball running over here. We just had another large track of Lindell last Thursday or whatever. And the basic minimum lot size is about 5,000. I think it was 5,500 for this application. And they had Lindell, and we had a large swath of Eastwood on the commission meeting last week. They start with this big section, they gauge the level of support, and they find where the highest concentration of support is. They need to try and get to 55% of support. That's the number of people. They're not really paying attention to the amount of land, I've decided. It's just the level of support. We've got a 20,000 square foot lot, and you got a 6,000 square foot lot, and you got a 4,000 square foot lot. That's just 3 votes, basically. They glance at the amount of coverage, but it should really be both for sure. But they have to get to a certain level to go be presented to the planning commission. They don't have to get to 67 or 75 or something. So it could be, we just did one off of Shepherd, over there, kind of where Richmond is. So what is it? Marshall and Kipling and
Dearborn is
south
North
of,
Main and, south.
this is the block adjacent to what is basically Shepherd on the east side, diagonally across from the Trader Joe's, over there. Whatever those blocks.
Yeah,
Soul
that's
Rock.
George.
Soul Rock,
Yeah.
Mandel.
North
Where you talking
It's
about?
not
Soul
a
Rock.
place.
Soul Rock.
It's
Sorry.
Ross Bernard.
The block basically to the east of Shepherd. Now I know the people are concerned, but there were, I'm just making this up, 20 lots, 6 multifamily somethings, 6 townhouses, and maybe 8 or 9 single family residents, whatever. That applied for minimum lot size over here. Minimum being basically 6,000 probably. And they only got 9 people who voted for, and 3 voted against, and 7 didn't vote. And they put this one forward over there. To me, I think this is a lovely tool. My basic premise is you have to meet a certain level of threshold. In the property code, to create a deed restriction, you need 75%. I kind of use that as a guide. These tools are when they can't quite get to that deed restriction, so the threshold could be a little bit less. Let's say that's 67 or whatever. But they did not get to even really 55. Came before the planning commission, and we can vote yes or no. This vote was 5-4 to move this one forward because city council ultimately got to decide that one. If they get to a high threshold, it's basically automatic. They were gauging the level of opposition and only 3 people opposed. I'm not sure they understood exactly what was going on. Half the time, it's a 30-day window when the signs go up, people are mailed a letter, and they're told about a meeting, and literally half the time, the postmark is 4 days after the meeting. So the people didn't know, and if they didn't live there, these are qualified. This is showing you all the applications for minimum lot size. And here's everything that was before 2014 and what was actually came in 2015. So we have a fair amount of property. Here's the heights, and you can see we're really into minimum lot size over here. Don't want any townhouses like you guys have over there in Montrose. But you're starting to see it more and more. You're going to see this large swath. Lindell, you're going to see this huge movement. You're going to see this. Where there are deed restrictions, it's kind of limiting always. So, most of Memorial, all these sections have deed restrictions that talk about subdivision of their lots. So it's the area where the deed restrictions have lapsed, are no longer being enforced, or you didn't have any to begin with. So it's pretty interesting to see 15,900 lots are now protected by minimum lot size. The build line has about 3,200. There's a nice little website you can try and find out what it is. When you have 10% and the application goes in, so what they see is a for sale sign goes up, and all of a sudden people get nervous it's going to be the Ashby high rise. People go make application for the minimum lot size. When you make application, it stops the subdivision. You can't be subdivided until the application is approved or rejected, which usually takes about 3 months to get the process to be deferred a few times. Very interesting about minimum lot size and minimum build size. Planning Commission does this. Okay. So 66 new minimum lot size outfits. These are huge swaths of land. This is Eastwood. This is Lindell. They're big deals. Minimum lot size build lines. Minimum build line is generally usually one side of the block. The 16, north side of the 1600 block of Harold or something. It's 5 block basis.
Does it have to be a specific boundary, like subdivision?
We're really into block face at the moment. You can't start in the middle of it. It's a block face.
We faced that on the survey on 938. Oxford. They
Mhm.
put build lines on there and it was on the other side of the street where the build lines were. The old survey had the,
Happens.
it happens to be good to get a new survey.
Yes.
The old,
Yeah.
the old lines were on the other side of the street.
Has to be block face. Okay, okay, let's keep on going. Historic preservation comes under the planning also. This is showing you, where are the historic districts, you know, so here's Heights East, Heights West, Heights South, here's North Hill, here's Woodland Heights. Here are the landmarks. See, there's a large number of landmark buildings. Those are already predicted. You can be a landmark and still have a 90-day waiting period, or you can be protected landmark where no means no. So protected landmarks, you'd never be able to modify. Landmarks, you theoretically could, I suppose. Here's Glenbrook Valley. Here's these areas here. So there's 22 historic districts, 282 landmarks, and 115 protected landmarks. My house is a protected landmark. Okay. Theoretically, these things come to the planning department. There were in 2015, 363 certificates of appropriate. About 290 of these are in Heights East, West, or South. By far, it's the largest number of applications. It's 10 times greater than all of the others. So they modified the ordinance in 2015. Not gonna go there.
People,
Doing that picture.
No, about that. I want you to click on this deal. This is also interesting for a couple of things I found in here. The planning department maintains these deals. These websites are being updated a little bit. I thought a few were fairly important for you to know. Recent crime is a lovely one. You could pop right over here. You could put 205 Balin in the deal. So if a homeowner's interested and they want to know what's going on over here, you have to click the little disclaimer so that they know that just accept.
Valve plating inside.
You accept, then you can pull up a little deal. You can put in, we can put right here, this crime report. Fairly interesting. A little slower. This will give you the very most recent crime statistics. You guys put 205 on there. It pops up all the sex offenders. You can see all the sex offenders. You can see the most recent crime. It's really very recent. Taking this a while to kick over here. So they have this crime one is pretty good. They've got the fire hydrants. You can click on there, for you having insurance. I don't know how far you are from a fire hydrant. And the fire station, there's a whole separate little feature under this My City deal. We'll come back to it and see, but it's taking too long.
Has anyone noticed all the LED lights going in?
LED lights, the city entered into a 5-year contract with Centerpoint. The city is the applicant. This is the city driving this. It's not Centerpoint. Centerpoint works for the city, okay? And the city wanted to change these lights, and they're going to the LED lights, and they have a certain luminario thing or whatever. And it's designed, it was driven mostly by the neighborhoods that were in higher crime, because when the car was speeding through, you couldn't tell navy from maroon from black. And the police wanted the ability to be able to see better. For the people who were walking more in the neighborhood, they feel safer with a lighter light. So crime has actually been reduced. There's no sleep study that says people's sleep has been adversely affected, although there's some scattering on the next door or whatever.
Next door scattered.
Yeah.
Right,
Somebody
so you put in
breathe.
that's perfect. So I think you've got to go down, I guess, to see.
Well, it actually saves the city. Those
It
LED
does
lights pay for themselves in 2 years.
I'm going to pay $16 million to do it, so it's going to actually take a little more than 2 years. But yes, it is both a cost-effective measure and it's a. So here it'll show you. It'll pop up as much.
There's
what is that T right there? Is that,
This
that is like
This was one of the thefts. So there were 8 instances in which it could show us all the. This was a grand theft on March 26th, right over here. So yeah, click on that one. This is showing you the recent crime, theft from vehicle theft. It's all bedeviled. I can just Bolton on the other side over here. Here's theft. Here's on North Main. These are the most recent deals. This literally, I think, is probably in the last week or two, or it's very recent. This isn't showing you a month or two. It's showing you very recent. It is showing you all the sex offenders. If you want to know exactly, I mean, there's a lot of them. Click out of that.
You go to our office.
If you put on Heights Boulevard, wherever there's apartment complexes, you can click on this guy and see what he did. You really have to go into the registry and see exactly what he did. But there's plenty of them around most neighborhoods. And the thing about sex offenders, even though there's not one right here, there could be tomorrow. Remember? And so you wouldn't, so if you don't want to buy this block of Merrill, remember that guy can move over here. There's nothing really stopping him from moving somewhere. You'd be surprised the large number of sex offenders throughout the city. So, but if someone cares, this is showing you the most recent crime and the details. You can get out of this one and go into a more advanced deal, and it shows you crime for the last month, the last 3 months, the last year, whatever. This is just kind of showing you the most recent activity. But generally, you see what we have is car theft for the most part over there. Okay, get out of this one. We don't get hung up here for too long. What time is it? Just get back all the way to where the My City deal. So you can check 311. You can see if it's a historic structure or not, if you're in a historic district. You can check your plats, you can check your permits, you can check all sorts of stuff on this website. If you want to know, so there's all kinds of info. This was a really good one, just because people want to know, especially if you're doing this. So just put back in 205 Ayla or put in 1545 Heights Boulevard. He tells you what day trash day is, what day recycling is. It doesn't really matter either. Yes. So here, if you just click on this one right quick, if someone just wanted to know, this is telling me what super neighborhood I'm in. It's telling me that I'm in a historic district in the Woodland Heights. Here's garbage day on Thursday, heavy trash is the 3rd Wednesday, recycling is Thursday. You just find some general information. You'd be surprised at the amount of information that's here on this planning department website. I like the fire hydrant one because the insurance company's always saying, we're going to go out and measure how many feet we are. Okay, let's get out of this. Basically, we didn't really talk about the variance section that has to do with the build line. Of course, the planning department's into variances. An example would be the old Sally's Beauty Supply thing at Yale and 21st across from the Yale Street Grill. There's that existing building. They want a new permit. That's been out of business 10 or 12 years. They want a new permit for a restaurant, although we don't determine land use. They need a variance, or they have to tear that building down to meet the setbacks or whatever. So we granted a variance so they could leave the building, but we got something out of them, which is generally a beautification in the right of way, which the city owns. They're inadvertently going to beautify the city's area. We're going to grant them a variance so they can keep 60% of that building. The parking will be in the back, and it's a pedestrian-friendly area. Anytime a building needs a variance, especially if it's an existing building, or if you want a variance for a piece of land on your build line. Here's the fire hydrant thing, plat, crime, the 311 calls, historic maps and restrictions, all these sort of things in the planning department. Okay, I think that's about it in this planning department deal. Let's see if there's something else out there. Major landscape and shrubbery ordinance, that's the building department, that's the planning department also. So it has to do with your trees and tree replacement, trees in the right of way, designating trees as historic. So it's so planning is overseeing all this sort of thing: mobility, development, replatting, preservation, boundaries, annexation, demographics, mapping, all this sort of stuff. Planning department does. Any questions about that one? All right, let's go to permitting 101. What time is it?
It's 11:07.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move to the next one. Next week, we'll pick up on something new over here, so that's probably plenty for today. Any questions about anything we went over? overview of what we're doing?
Yeah, I did have one question.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a great idea, but that structure, if everyone's doing ACES, why can't we like use a negative into a positive and saying Boulevard
Encourages
encourages
structure.
builders, or having
We do
conversations
encourage
with
builders.
builders to say, start using structure then, rather than ACES, because it really benefits.
I think if that's a new builder with no great reputation, I think that's very, very good advice. Of course, there's the increased cost, it's $3,500, so it
Right.
increases the cost of the house.
Right.
But I think, yes, it would give the buyer and the realtor world a greater sense of security that someone's paying attention to the structure along the way before the warranty goes into place.
Or that someone also is giving really,
And we've written it in a few
helping the
times.
buyer rather than making a.
Yeah, I mean, I sold a house in Oak Forest, whatever, on Kinley, and that builder used that very much to his advantage. And he even had yes, they were out at the forming, they were out at the framing, they were out prior to insulation. I mean, that the warranty company had been involved along the way. I think that was LBJ or one of those guys, it's pretty big in Oak Forest. They definitely use it as an advantage. Before in 13 and 14, you just bought the house because you needed the house. Now, I think when you have no choices, you're going to choose the ones with a greater reputation or warranty like that, which might be in play in case the economy goes.
Well, I mean, if
worse.
Boulevard's leading the charge, talking to builders, then all of a sudden we're in.
Yeah, I
front of
think
the
it's a
other
very
two.
good thing, especially.
We're in front of the other two brokers.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood.
Okay, yes, ma'am, question?
On the sex offender thing, how often do they update it? Because like, there's a lot along, 27th and 28th, but a lot of that's turned into new construction. And then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 7 at 10.5 between Heights and Yale, which is like 2 blocks from the school, the elementary school. But how often do they update it?
Once a month.
Once a month? So those people are probably still there.
They're very expensive. Yeah, the register's supposed to be updated once a month.
I
Thank you.
thought they weren't supposed to be next to a school or church.
There have to be a certain distance. But remember, so like even Liberty Kitchen Basketball, they moved the door and they're within the school too. So 10.5 is probably fine if you're in the 600 block.
303 East 9th, that's not fine.
303 East
So that's
9,
on the corner
probably.
of Portland and 9th, which is also across the street, the elementary school. That's
Rob
not
Miller is at Harvard and 9th. So Portland is, those apartments owned by the lake.
If you're a sex offender, you want to be as close to the school as possible, but it is the most desirable location.
Or you don't, if you're trying to.
We'll look at it. Okay, thank you all
like
very
that.
much. We'll pick back up.
You could argue an alcoholic wants to be close to the bar, or they don't want to be close to the bar. It's on,
You're just trying to sell a house to anybody.